Good morning, my friends. I'm out on my back porch, and I thought I'd just give you a little bit of an update on some of the little pots I've been working on. A month ago, I repotted some of my Amaryllis. I was showing you how to cut back some of your Amaryllis. Well, a few weeks ago, actually, was when I did this pot, and then 2 weeks ago, I did this one. So let me show you this one first. Get up a little closer and I'll show you. And there's 12 in here actually. And let me just aim my camera down just a tiny bit more and show you what we have here. See if I can get even closer. And you can see that these guys have all come out. These are just some of the little tiny guys. These are my little kindergartners, and I'm gonna try and pull this one up. Let me see if I can show you some of the little root that has formed. And this has been, I guess it's been a couple, 2-3 weeks. Actually, I made a video, and then whenever I checked it again, my phone had not taken it. So I'm going to stick that back in, but before I do, I want you to see, I think you can see that there's like a little lip coming out. I don't really want to cut back anymore to show you. So we'll just stick that. That's one little root. And we'll see if we can get them back in there. And I feel bad because the way I was showing you how to do it was to fill this up halfway and then stick your large, if you have a variety of bulbs. If you have one big bulb, then, stick it in halfway, bring your soil up to the 1/2 to 3/4 mark. But if you have a variety, like I planted these first 4, and then I added more soil, and then I planted some of these bigger ones, and then I added more soil, and then I planted the little guys. But you can see that each one has a tongue. As a matter of fact, this one has a tongue, but it also, I think, has a bloom. Just peel that back. Also has like a little bloom stalk on it, I think. It might just be 2 blooms. Like these are leaves. You can see those are leaves. I really try to make sure that whenever I do this, that I have these in tight enough that my leaves stand up. Because when the leaves start to droop, then, they're just not taking in the nutrients like they would if their leaves were standing up and taking all that photosynthesis in and taking it back down to the bulb, and that's where your bulb is starting to grow and mature. Let me just turn this around for you. This one was the only one that I just peeled off a little bit more. It was looking really bad, and I thought, oh gosh, I'm surprised because it was a big healthy looking bulb. And so I cut back just a little bit of this brown, and it exposed the tongue on it. I don't ever like to disturb the tongue of it. I think this is a bulb, a bloom stalk trying to come out here. But let me just turn this around. Can you see that? I would guess, a dime to a donut, as they say, that in here, even though sometimes that looks like it's rotted, if you clean that out, you'll see that there's a bloom, or there's a leaf trying to come out. But anyway, I try to keep these up. You can see there's another one over here. Just turn that around for you to see even more. You see the leaf? That leaf coming out. And then the babies. Now, it's probably 2 to 3 years before these guys even think about having a bloom. This one back here is probably 5 years before it ever thinks about having a bloom. Let me show you a few more. I take it back whenever I said that. These guys were the, I think these were the ones I did originally. And they seem to really have taken a little bit of time to get themselves going. I don't know if you can see. I'm going to take this out for a second because I want you to see the difference. Can you see how much bigger? Get this in here. Is it going to focus for me? There we go. You see how much fatter this is? I mean, it's actually thick. So that is a possible bloom stalk trying to come out. I really don't think it's going to. If it does, it'll be much later on in the year. But you can see how much nicer these look. They're a little larger bulb, and they've all been cleaned off. So you know, all you're doing is you're taking your the bulb that you have, you know, if it's already bloomed, you're going to take that bulb and clean off the bottom, clean off the top. If you've allowed the roots to dry on the bottom, just kind of trim them back. You don't have to trim all of it, but if you have the little gnarly looking brown ones that look like old dead worms, you know, I actually leave those. And then I trim, if I have a bunch of, you know, like really long white white roots, then I'll trim those back because I want this plant to start from scratch and start producing. So and I will, about the only thing I'll give it is you could do a time release fertilizer. You could do anything that you really have. I use rainwater and a little bit of worm tea, and I will just go kind of in around some of them. I don't water directly on the top. If it gets on the top, well, you know, it's not going to kill it, I don't think. And let me do back over here again. We'll just give everybody just a little shot. And that's it for those. Now the jade plant, do you remember me showing you my little leaves that I was taking, Rick was taking down some Christmas lights, and he went by one of my big jade plants, and he knocked off, I think there's 13 or 16 in here. Anyway, he knocked off leaves. You know, bull in the china shop. He was going by with a string of lights, and they caught the plant itself. So I took those, and I took a big piece of aloe, and I cut little slits in the aloe, and I stuck the leaves in. And the Aloe Vera plant acted as a root hormone, and they all developed roots. So now they are growing in here. It does not matter if you water the top of a jade. It's like water off a duck's back. And that is growing really well. These are going to need to be transplanted here pretty soon. I've found that I used to use clay all the time, and you know, clay pots, and I'm finding that they dry out very quickly, especially here in Florida. This plastic, somebody gave me these, they were throwing them out, and they said, oh well, you know, if you want them, fine, if you don't, throw them out. So I thought, gee, I bet they would work really well for jade, which has that tendency to dry out, and they have just been marvelous. So I'm here's my screen, and it gets the afternoon sun. So every few days I come out and I just give it like a quarter turn. So that's that. So now you know what I'm doing there. I've got my jade going, and I've got my Amaryllis now multiplying. There's 18 of them there, so that could add to my total. And then this is my Christmas cactus. Actually, it's I think it's a Thanksgiving cactus. and someone gave it to me, um, and so I had it, and it was doing probably over about a 5-year period. It went from looking great to looking not so good. And again, it's in a clay pot. So I'll swing around and show you my mess. But this is my holiday cactus, Thanksgiving cactus, that I've had for about 10 or 12 years. And it's doing really well. And I find the best way to water these is really if you can get these water globes. They're just terrific. It goes down to the root. It doesn't really sit in much water. I put a little bit of fertilizer in with it, and within maybe a week or so, they're empty, and I need to fill them up and put them in again. And I'll go ahead and wait. I'll wait a couple weeks, and then I will fill them again with a little bit of fertilizer and rainwater, and then come back in a couple weeks again. But they're doing fine. So anyway, the one over here, I was going to throw it away because it was just 3 pieces, and I thought, oh, what the heck? I'll clean the roots. I dipped them in a little bit of rainwater with a little bit of hydrogen peroxide in it. I think I used maybe like a cup of water to a teaspoon or a little bit more of hydrogen peroxide, and I think it cleaned off any bacteria that was on the roots. And then I repotted them. I cut it way back, as you can see, to the point where it was firm. And I think you can see that it's only been about 2.5 weeks, and you can see that it's already starting to send off new shoots. If it doesn't, I'll give it a fresh cut and see if I can get it again. So that's all that's happening in my little grow world, and I just wanted to share that with you, that I think as gardeners we get bored with one thing and then we kind of go on to something else. And so I try to keep my gardening experience a little interesting. As you can see out there, the figs have come back. They were nothing but 2 little sticks, and I've got a few of those. They haven't put out any. I don't see any fruit on them yet, but they look healthy. So with that, I will say I hope everybody's having a great Friday, and I hope you have a great weekend. So garden what you've got, and I hope you'll come back and see me again real soon. Bye bye, everybody.